From our Toronto studios, this is Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I am Ahmed Ramadan. Hours after Trump peace roadmap, Israel kills Palestinian in Gaza. This and more on today's show. Stay tuned. The United States and Iran continue exchanging attacks across the Gulf, with fresh military action reported overnight. Iran's Revolutionary Guard says it launched drone strikes on U.S. military bases in Kuwait and Jordan. Tehran says the attacks were retaliation for a U.S. strike on Qashm Island that reportedly killed a couple and their 2-year-old child. Kuwait says its air defenses intercepted and destroyed Iranian drones targeting vital military facilities. Officials say falling debris caused minor damage but no casualties. Iran also claims it stopped 2 oil tankers in the Strait of Hormuz for violating its navigation rules. Meanwhile, in Saudi Arabia has announced a 14-member maritime alliance. It is expected to help protect shipping through the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, the Red Sea, and the Gulf of Aden. Hours after President Donald Trump announced a new peace roadmap for Gaza, Israeli forces carried out fresh strikes, killing at least 1 Palestinian and wounding several others in central and northern Gaza. An Israeli drone also struck a group of civilians near the Khadija Mosque in Gaza City's Karama neighborhood, injuring 2 people. The latest attack follows another deadly day across Gaza. Israeli air and drone strikes on Thursday killed 6 Palestinians, including 2 children, and wounded at least 37 others, most of them children. The Israeli attacks directly hit displaced families sheltering in tents in the designated safe zone of Al-Mawasi near Khan Yunis. Medical personnel report that multiple homes and temporary shelters came under direct fire, flooding local emergency rooms with wounded children. Israel has continued to kill and maim Palestinians in daily attacks across Gaza despite the so-called ceasefire. It has killed 1,214 Palestinians and injured 3,977 others. With U.S. support, Israel launched its genocide in Gaza in October 2023, killing at least 73,400 Palestinians and injuring more than 174,211 others. Israeli forces have forcibly commandeered 4 private Palestinian homes in the occupied West Bank, converting them into military outposts. The soldiers raided the town of Tel, southwest of Nablus, on Thursday morning. Residents say they occupied the homes and deployed across the town. The raid follows violence in Tel days earlier that left 4 Palestinians dead and 2 Israelis, an attack under the direct protection and coordination of the Israeli military. At the same time, state-backed settlement expansion is accelerating rapidly across the territory. Settlers have established a new illegal outpost on Palestinian land near Jenin, just days after another outpost was erected in Salfit, merely meters from civilian homes. According to settlement watchdog Peace Now, there are currently 141 Israeli settlements and 360 illegal outposts blanketed across the West Bank, alongside 15 settlements in occupied East Jerusalem. The United Nations maintains that every Israeli settlement built on Palestinian land is illegal under international law. Last year, the International Court of Justice explicitly ruled that Israel's continued presence and occupation in Palestinian territory is completely unlawful and must end immediately. Far from an abstract warning, this relentless push of military raids, home takeovers, and outpost construction constitutes an active and systematic de facto annexation of the West Bank. President Donald Trump has announced a new U.S.-backed roadmap for Gaza, but there are major contradictions between Washington, Israel, and Hamas. Trump claims the proposal would see the Palestinian resistance group Hamas disarm in phased stages under international supervision, followed by a gradual withdrawal of Israeli forces. However, senior Hamas official Ghazi Hamad stressed that the group will not touch its weapons while Israel continues to occupy roughly 70% of Gaza and has not honored any ceasefire for a single day. Ahmed insisted that Israel will have zero role in oversight and that any future security or administrative decisions belong strictly to Palestinian National Committee. Critics also point out the double standards in Washington's proposal. It demands the complete disarming of Palestinian resistance while placing zero restrictions or demilitarization requirement on Israel, the state currently committing a genocide in Gaza. Meanwhile, Israeli media report that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government considers even this proposal insufficient, demanding full demilitarization before any troop movements. While Washington frames the roadmap as a concrete step forward, the fundamental divide over who acts first and who controls Gaza's future remains completely unresolved. Connecticut has approved a law to develop a curriculum on Islamic and Arab studies for public schools. It requires the state's Board of Education to prepare teaching resources and make them available to local school districts. Schools can decide whether to use the materials. The new curriculum joins existing state resources on Black studies, Native American studies, and Latino studies. It will include Asian American and Pacific Islander studies, as well as Holocaust and genocide education. Muslim community leaders welcomed the move. The Connecticut chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations, or CAIR, said the law gives schools accurate resources if they choose to teach the subject. Supporters say the measure will help students better understand different cultures and faiths. But Republican lawmakers and the Connecticut Catholic Conference opposed the law, claiming it could violate the constitutional separation of church and state. However, constitutional law allows public schools to teach the history and culture of world religions. The same legislation creates a 15-member working group to develop guidance for addressing anti-Semitism in public schools. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani says he is open to considering reparations for slavery. The comments come as New York City studies its historical role in slavery. The initiative will also explore whether descendants of enslaved people should receive reparations or other forms of redress. Mamdani told media outlet The Root that many people wrongly associate slavery only with the southern states of the U.S., but he said New York City was also deeply complicit in slavery. Mamdani said he would not prejudge the findings of the city study, but noted that acknowledging the full history of slavery is critically important. Any plan approved by New York City could face legal challenges. Last month, the Justice Department challenged a housing reparations program in a Chicago suburb. It argued the program violated the Constitution's Equal Protection Clause and federal fair housing law. Parasitic infection tops 18,000 cases across the United States. Details coming up next.
Such activities can facilitate interaction between Turkish community and the larger American society.
festival is welcoming everybody.
Welcome back. The U.S. is reporting more than 18,000 cases of cyclosporiasis, a parasitic intestinal infection across 45 states. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, says the outbreak continues to spread. The government agency has confirmed more than 6,700 cases through lab testing since May. More than 420 patients have been hospitalized. Officials are also investigating more than 11,500 additional suspected cases. No deaths have been reported. Health officials say many infections are linked to recalled iceberg lettuce. Most of those cases are in Michigan and Ohio. Investigators also trace some infections to shredded iceberg lettuce served at Taco Bell restaurants in 9 states. The lettuce was supplied by Taylor Farms and sourced from central Mexico. Taylor Farms de Mexico has recalled the affected lettuce distributed across 27 states. The CDC says summer usually brings more cases of cyclosporiasis, but public health experts say deep federal budget cuts crippled early tracing efforts. Severe CDC staffing shortages allowed the outbreak to quickly spiral out of control. The agency's parasitic disease team was downsized from 11 scientists to just 3. Meanwhile, local health departments lost billions needed for rapid contact tracing. Health officials now warn the true scale of the outbreak is far higher than reported. The Trump administration is ending federal funding for lawyers representing thousands of migrant children in U.S. immigration courts. About 20,000 unaccompanied children could lose legal representation as the government is ending funded contracts. Advocacy groups say many of these children fled violence, trafficking, or abuse. They warn the minors could be forced to fight deportation cases on their own. The funding has supported a nationwide network of legal aid organizations for more than 20 years. Democratic Senator Jeff Merkley called the move a 5-alarm fire, saying it violates every moral standard. The Acacia Center for Justice says the government has not explained what will happen to children already receiving legal help. The Department of Health and Human Services claims it is meeting its legal obligations. However, officials are exploiting a civil court loophole that does not guarantee public defenders for children. They also demand confidential client data from attorneys as a condition for temporary funds. Advocates warn that without a lawyer, fewer than 1% of immigrant children receive legal protection. They are urging the administration to restore funding immediately. The State Department is apologizing after an AI-generated map shown at an international conference. It mislabeled every African country on the continent. The incorrect map appeared during a presentation at the AIDS 2026 conference in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Media reports say every African country shown on the map was given the wrong name. The image also carried an artificial intelligence watermark linked to OpenAI tools. OpenAI says it is investigating the report. The State Department says it is taking full responsibility for the confusion and misrepresentation. Senator Jean Shaheen called it an embarrassment. She said this is happening because the State Department is firing career diplomats and uses AI to conduct diplomacy. Former U.S. Ambassador Luis Moreno said recruiting unqualified partisan hacks in the diplomatic pool creates pathetic results. The U.S. is investigating a coordinated cyberattack that targeted more than 30 municipal water facilities in Minnesota. The investigation is still underway and no formal attribution has been made. The cyberattacks took place on Sunday and Monday and targeted computer systems that help operate water and wastewater facilities. Minnesota's Information Technology Agency is leading the state investigation. It is working with the FBI, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, and the Environmental Protection Agency. Officials say investigators have found similarities in the timing of the attacks and the technology targeted. Health officials say there is no indication that drinking water has been contaminated, while federal agencies recently issued general warnings regarding infrastructure threats. Officials caution against assigning responsibility until technical forensic analysis is complete. The Srebrenica Memorial Center has documented 149 cases of genocide denial in Bosnia and Herzegovina of the past 12 months. That is up from 99 cases the previous year. The report says courts have failed to stop the growing trend despite a law banning genocide denial. International courts, including the International Court of Justice, have ruled the killings of Srebrenica were genocide. In July 1995, Bosnian Serb forces killed more than 8,300 Bosniak Muslim men and boys after capturing the UN-declared safe area of Srebrenica. The Memorial Center says Bosnian Serb political leaders are continuing efforts to deny the genocide. They are glorifying convicted war criminals and erasing the memory of one of Europe's worst atrocities since World War II. Chinese online fashion retailer Shein has moved its planned stock market listing to Hong Kong. The company earlier planned to sell its shares in New York and later in London. Reports say Chinese regulators objected to references in the IPO documents about the risk of Uyghur forced labor in the Chinese-occupied East Turkestan region. The filings also refer to the U.S. law that bans imports made with forced labor. That became a major obstacle to Shein's overseas listing plans. Shein does not mention East Turkestan, which it calls Xinjiang, or forced labor in its Hong Kong filing. Instead, it uses general language about a possible risk to its business reputation. The company says it works with 7,500 manufacturing partners and uses advanced technology to manage production and keep inventory low. Analysts say Hong Kong allows Shein to raise money from international investors while remaining under Chinese regulatory oversight. American scientists have developed a new metal alloy 10 times stronger than high-strength steel. Yet, the element can bend without breaking. That solves a problem challenging engineers for decades. Researchers at Purdue University say they redesigned the material at the nanoscale. They transformed a normally brittle cobalt aluminum alloy into the ultra-strong and flexible metal. Tests show the material also withstood significant stress at room temperature. The breakthrough could help build stronger turbine blades for aircraft engines. It may also improve gas turbines, energy systems, defense equipment, and future space technology. The research appears in the journal Science Advances. Scientists say the new manufacturing technique could work with other advanced metal alloys. If successful, it could open the door to lighter, tougher, and more efficient engines that perform better under extreme heat and pressure. That's all from our Toronto studios. Thank you for watching Muslim News. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. You can donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV. Salam.